Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Welcome back, everyone. This is the Produce Moms Podcast, and as you all know, I am so blessed and thankful to be your host. My name is Lori Taylor. I'm the founder of the Produce Moms, and today we are welcoming a gentleman who is behind some really fascinating technology and strategies in the produce industry. It was just recently brought to my attention through trade media. And we are welcoming Derk Hendriksen. He is the co-CEO of Treasure8. This is an organization and a company with a purpose of deploying nutrition for humanity. So, I always say this podcast is a show where we really aspire to showcase the work of people that are just dedicated to making the world a better place. And I truly feel that Treasure8 is one of those companies. So it is a real joy to welcome Derk to the show today and learn more about all the great work you're doing. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Lori, and the Produce Moms for having me today. Really appreciate the invitation and looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you. So please introduce yourself and your background to our audience today.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. So as you may be able to tell from my accent, I'm Dutch, grew up in the Netherlands, went to school there. My dad was a teacher. My mom was a medical analyst and later became a teacher as well. And, very big proponents of organizations like Greenpeace, Fair Trade, sustainability was part of everyday life where I grew up. Composting, recycling, you name it. So all of that as a backdrop of the country that I grew up in. I studied marketing there and later business. And after my studies and after military service, I started my career in the CPG industry, the consumer packaged good industry. Most recently with the Coca-Cola company for over 20 years. So when I joined Coca-Cola in the late 90s, I ran marketing for them for the Coca-Cola brand in the Netherlands, then moved to Belgium in the early 2000s and later in France. In Belgium, I had a really interesting experience, because of a number of events there. The trust in the brand and in the company had really dipped. So really focused on reestablishing trust with consumers, shoppers, customers, and stakeholders. So there was kind of, I feel like that was my PhD in stakeholder-centric leadership, if you will. After Belgium, I moved to France and ran marketing for Coca-Cola there. And that's where I met my wife. She happens to be American, Sicilian American. And we moved to the United States in 2007. So we moved to the Coca-Cola headquarters in Atlanta, spent our summers in Sicily, where her family is from. And I worked with the Coca-Cola company for 6 years in global marketing. So looking after the expansion of the brand portfolio with brands like Coke Zero and other additions to brands that people know well. And then later, I was actually accused of committing career suicide by moving into sustainability into 2012 or 13. Yeah, it was hilarious. I always wanted to be a general manager and moved into to head up a joint venture around a water purification technology that Coca-Cola had partnered with a gentleman called Dean Kamen. And subsequently spent a few years bringing a program called Eco Center to life in Africa and Asia. And think of Eco Center as kind of a downtown in a box that brings clean water, electricity, connectivity, and a wide range of services and products to disadvantaged communities And those centers are being run by women from the communities in those disadvantaged developing nations. So that's really where I got bit by the sustainability and social enterprise bug. Later spent a few years, the last couple of years, working with the new CEO to develop what's currently known as the Beverages for Life strategy for the Coca-Cola company, and activate its purpose of refreshing the world and making a difference. So I really got interested in how can you use a sense of purpose to drive growth. I call that kind of enlightened capitalism. And then in 2016, my wife left the Coca-Cola company. We moved to Chicago. I commuted for a while, then later moved to San Francisco in 2018. And that was the moment that I decided that I wanted to try something different. And I started my company, my own company, Hendriksen Ventures. And that was focused on helping large organizations and startups focus on how to drive purpose-driven growth. Inspired by thought leaders like Simen Sinek, who talks about, a just cause for organizations and the importance of resilience and inclusiveness and service orientation when we run a business. But also Larry Fink, for instance, who said, the chairman of the CEO of BlackRock, who said, profit is the result of a purpose well executed, right? So it's not a goal in itself. It's the result of doing the right things the right way. Yes. So I got really interested in that, and then met Timothy Childs, the founder of Treasure8 here in San Francisco. We met through a mutual friend, and he was looking for someone to help him run the company, and the rest is history. Here we are.
What an intro, and oh my goodness, your background. The breadth of knowledge, the breadth of all the places in the world where your work and your passion for this purpose-driven growth and approach to business, it's profound and it's beautiful. And when I visit the Treasure8 website, it really comes full circle, because there on your homepage, our platform meets 4 major nutrition security objectives. That moves my soul. And I'm really excited to tell our community of, fruit and vegetable loving aficionados all that Treasure8 is about. So, oh my goodness, congratulations to you on all that you have accomplished and been part of. And I truly believe, after studying Treasure8, it is best days ahead for you, your team, and all those that are going to be touched by your work.
Oh, you're too kind. Thanks.
Yeah. So please tell us now, let's talk about Treasure8 specifically. Yeah. So introduce us to your company.
Yeah, great. So, so funny that you just mentioned the word nutrition security. I want to, instead of what I planned to talk to you about, I want to start with that, because I understand you have 2 kids as well. Mine are 10 and 12, right? So we care a lot about making sure that they eat the right things and they eat the right way, et cetera. So, the major life-changing event that in my past was obviously having kids, and that changes perspective on life to some extent. So we're focused on deploying nutrition for humanity, and that is grounded in a belief that what the world needs is nutrition security, as opposed to just food security. And there's a big difference between the two. In fact, it's kind of interesting that we're talking today, on the day between Martin Luther King Day and a presidential inauguration. It's kind of behooves us to think forward and think about the messy world around us and what's going on. We have a health crisis, a social crisis, an economic crisis, and a climate crisis all coming together at the same time. And there's a lot of inequality in the world, and access to quality nutrition is one of the things that at Treasure8 we believe we can have an impact on. Which is why our purpose, the reason why we exist and we get out of bed in the morning, is to deploy nutrition for humanity, and that means looking at value creation through the lens of what we call a triple bottom line. So we care about people, we care about the planet, and we care about the performance of our company. And all 3 of them are of equal importance. So I joined Treasure8 in late 2018 when Timothy asked me that question, do you want to help run the company? And I immediately said yes because of its purpose, but also because of the technology that Timothy had acquired a license, exclusive license to from the USDA that gave me confidence that there was a really interesting technology to build a business on. And that technology is called sauna. So what Treasure8 is we call it a technology and partnership platform. The core of our technology is a dehydration technology named sauna, exclusively licensed from the USDA. And because of that technology, we are able to dehydrate fresh produce in ways that in many cases maximizes the retention of the underlying nutrition. It's a very gentle way of dehydration, and it can be used in combination or in addition to existing dehydration technologies like hot air drying or freeze drying. And as a result, create more nutrition with more flavor and more sustainability or a lower social environmental impact, as if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's so interesting. And I will say that we're really seeing a rise in an interest in more dried fruit through our community. And I think, to your point with just where the world is at and where America's at, it's caused by a lot of different factors. But at the end of the day, people are definitely looking for the healthiest, most nutrient dense choice every single time.
Yeah.
You know, especially when they're choosing a fruit or a vegetable, but we aspire at the Produce Moms where that's the objective every single time you choose to eat.
Yeah.
So tell us more about, let's just go a little bit deeper. I know that another big term that your company uses is resource revolution. I mean, do you want to get into that, to your mission to accelerate the resource revolution?
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. I'd love to. So the resource revolution, we've actually trademarked that term. That's how important it is for us. The way we approach thinking about the food system is through a regenerative lens. So we think in terms of a value circle instead of a value chain. And we think about what we can do, how we can help ourselves and through our ecosystem of partners to make that value circle regenerative. We called it a resource revolution, and there's actually 5 steps in that strategy. The first one is around resourcing produce the right way, including looking at post-harvest or post-production waste as a nutrition resource. Or potential food loss as a resource. The second step is reform, which is where technology comes into play. So dehydrating the produce while maintaining the nutritional density of it. Basically, what happens in that way, if fresh is best, dehydrated is what sauna grade dehydration is kind of the next best thing. What it does is it allows us to buy time, and time is a scarce commodity. Yeah. So bringing nutrition, having the time to bring the right nutrition to people everywhere in the world at affordable prices is critical. So that then leads us to the third step of the strategy, which is redeploy. That's where we work with large companies, CPG companies, producers, et cetera, to make sure that through our technology, we can actually generate scale and bring the nutrition to folks who want and need it. That's where the Mariani partnership comes into play that I'll talk about in a minute. And then the fourth and the fifth step are more future oriented. We're working on it, but not actively implementing it yet. And that is refuel. So looking at biomass to generate fuel to run our production processes so that our environmental footprint becomes even less. And then the last step is recharge, where we use biochar from our products, reinforce that with beneficial microbes to then to help improve soil health, so that the yield and the quality of the yield of the soil that's being used is improving. And as a result, if you think about that, I'm making a circular movement here with my hands. If you think about that as a circle, then of course the whole process starts again with resourcing, then reforming and redeploying, et cetera.
Right.
So that's how we think about it.
And it's everything is such a regenerative method. I mean, I'm really seeing when you spoke earlier about Treasure8's 3Ps, people, planet, performance.
Yeah.
And all 5 of these pillars, I mean, really they benefit all 3 of those P's, but most definitely the planet is, you can really match it up there, but for sure it's making people's lives better. It's making your company's efficiencies and performance, more impactful and more efficient. So it's really profound, the structure and the purpose behind what you all do.
It's funny you say that, Laurie. If you think about that, making things better, Timothy often talks about betterification as an invented word, right? But yeah, so it's about healthier people, healthier planet, healthier performance, or healthier profit in our case, because we are a for-profit company.
Right.
But you got to do all 3 of them to create sustainable value going forward. So yes, absolutely. All those 5 steps in our resource revolution strategy contribute to that triple bottom line approach.
That's right. And your remarks are pulling out some of these terms that I believe that consumers are getting more and more familiar with. Obviously, sustainability is a big one. Mm-hmm. Regenerative approach to food systems and agriculture is another really big one that's becoming more and more popular among consumer understanding. And another thing that I wanted to call out just from this conversation, I have always said, and I say it on this podcast all the time, and I probably, after listening to your remarks and becoming more familiar with your approach to food security, I've always said food security is national security. And what I probably need to say is nutrition security is national security, is human security. You know what I mean? And I love that Treasure8.com really challenges folks who have always thought food security. It's really, the world needs nutrition security, and that's called out in a big way on your website.
Yeah, if you think about it, I think that's where it's going, where national security, government activity, aid organizations, et cetera. I think we're going to have to move from rice and beans in cans to nutritious solutions, high density nutrition solutions sourced from produce, and make sure that becomes part of the diet, not just the American diet, the global diet. Because that will create healthier people, and with healthier people, we will have better performing people and everything that comes with it. And we need to do all of that by creating or leaving behind a healthier planet. Well,
Derk, you just created the best segue here in the conversation to talk about this wonderful partnership between Treasure8 and Mariani Packing. And this is actually how I found out about your company. I read about this wonderful partnership in our trade journals and through your PR efforts. And let's talk a little bit deeper about that. Please explain to folks what this partnership means and how it's going to make the world a better place.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, we're super excited to be partnering with the Mariani family. When we met them, we felt that we were, coming home in terms of being like-minded. The Mariani family has its purpose to inspire healthy living, and obviously that combines perfectly with deploying nutrition for humanity. So teaming up in that regard was a no-brainer. For those who don't know, they're the largest independently family-owned dried fruit business. In business since 1906, and they do a lot. But for simplicity's sake, they source produce, they manufacture and dry, and they sell. They sell their own brands. They sell brands to others. They sell ingredients, etc. So it is a large organization that has a very, very strong operational platform. So what they provide,
and I also want to echo that, and also reinforce to our listeners, you're gonna encounter the Mariani brand products truthfully throughout the whole grocery store.
Absolutely.
They really do have a huge footprint even in your local grocery store. I personally have bought their products like right there in the cereal aisle, where they also sell the dried fruit, and then also they have product lines in the produce department. So they're just really established, well-known, and great distribution, even throughout the entire grocery store setting too. So carry on. I just had to emphasize that.
No, absolutely. And I'm so grateful for it, because this time you gave me a segue in what I wanted to talk next. Right. So what this does to us is it provides us with what we call instant operational readiness. Right. So if you think about Treasure8 as a platform, we're about innovation and technology. Mariani is about sourcing, manufacturing, and selling. So both parties have what the other doesn't. So in that regard, we will bring innovation and technology to Mariani to help them fill their innovation pipeline, to help them inspire healthy living, and create the next runway of innovation for them. Right. But at the same time, they will help us scale very, very quickly everything that we have to offer through the use of our technology and other partnerships. Right? We are a partnership ecosystem. So one of the things, in addition to our technology solutions, that we pride ourselves on is our ability to bring a large set of partners together from various walks of life, that share the same purpose and want to leave the world a better place while building a healthy business for all. And that I kind of learned when I was with the Coca-Cola company. We called it tri-sector leadership, we called it back then. So how do you work with the private sector and with governments and with civil society, bring everyone together to pursue common goals and create a win-win-win situation for all? Mm-hmm. So that's just exciting an exciting place to be.
Yeah, for sure. And when you reference your technologies, you're referring to that sauna dehydration technology. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're primarily, so that is the first building block in our technology suite. We're adding additional technologies to it, adding continuously developing new IP, new patents, et cetera, to make sure that we keep a competitive moat, if you will, around our technology base.
Right. I don't think anyone listening to you is surprised that the innovation is ongoing. So,
so yes, we are in the Bay Area, right? And by the way, that brings me to another point. We are about to move our headquarters from Treasure Island here in San Francisco to right next door in Vacaville at the Mariani facility, so that we can become even tighter connected to their operations and make sure that everything is seamlessly connected in the foreseeable future.
That's so fantastic. And this is just getting started, right? I mean, you just announced this partnership and you're just now kicking it off, I'm assuming. Like, this is a relatively new and exciting alignment.
That's exactly right. Yeah, of course, we want to share the good news. Both parties wanted to share the good news with their stakeholders. So we did that last week with a press release, and thank you for reacting so positively to it. We're very happy with it. And yes, it's just about to kick off. So the planning meetings are starting and the pens are being put to paper, and the innovation agenda is designed as we speak. So here we are.
So what does this mean for a mom like me who picks up the bags of Mariani dried fruit in the cereal aisle? What does it mean to me?
Yeah. So you're probably going to see additions to the portfolio. What that exactly and precisely is going to be, as I just mentioned, that remains to be decided. But as one example of what our technology can do is I have in front of me here, you can maybe hear it, a bag of apple chips, ground rolled chips, which have been dehydrated with sauna technology. And the only ingredient in there is apples. And I know that we're not the only ones who can claim that the only ingredient is apples. But the processing that we can apply through sauna grade dehydration makes that there is absolutely nothing else used to process. So no oil, no baking, et cetera, et cetera. So it is completely clean label. It is produced with technology that has a low environmental footprint, and more importantly, it's chock full of nutrition. And interestingly, I was just talking the other week with one of my ex-colleagues at Coca-Cola who has kids the same age as ours. And she had done some sampling, and she said, "Oh, Derk, it's unbelievable. I have never been able to get a serving of apple or beets in my children and have them be enthusiastic about it. And now they're asking for it. They want it to replace, their potato chips or whatever. Because at this age, 10, 12, 14, they're starting to become more conscious about what they put in their bodies as well. So it's snacking. It's healthy snacking, to your point. Clean label, healthy snacking. And that's just an awesome place to be.
Yeah, it sure is. And it's so important. I mean, we know that the snacking category isn't going anywhere but up.
It is.
Yeah.
And you know what? The sad thing is that for those who can afford it, most snacks are they can pay for it, right? But large swaths of society don't have access to quality nutrition. So one of our goals is not just to provide quality nutrition, but also make it more affordable. And that's why we need scale. That's why we need vertical integration in the value circle. That's why we need to work with partners who give us this instant operational readiness, so that, we don't have to go into the market with a premium proposition and then slowly over time bring the price down, but that we can go immediately to where we need to peg it, which is to make sure that even in food deserts and inner cities and at schools and what have you, kids, the same age as yours and mine, have access to quality nutrition, even if they don't hail from privileged environments.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. It's exciting. I can't wait to see what you all do next. So
Thank you.
Yeah. No, this has been a wonderful conversation, a great episode. I have so enjoyed listening to you speak. I mean, I just look forward to the day when we can get together again or share another conversation, because, oh my goodness, with your background and your passion and what you've committed your professional life to, it is just exactly where a lot of my personal passions lie. So thank you for your great work and for being a great role model to people like me.
I'd love to do that, Laurie. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure anytime. And on behalf of the Mariani family and the Treasure8 family and all our other partners, big regards and a belated Happy New Year to all your listeners.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to Lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a produce mom in you because there's a produce mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.